Swinging a high drive into center field. Hits at the wall. It is gone! Casas does it again. It's gone! It's into the bullpen! This game is tied!
He swings and rips one to center field. It's high, it's deep, it's back, it's gone! Sale winds, he fires. Swing and a miss, strike three, it's over! The Red Sox have won the World Championship!
Welcome back to Play Tessie. It's episode 96. If you're listening on drop day, it's July 15th. This is the official podcast of Getting Greedy in the First Half, also known as the official Red Sox podcast of WEI. Before we get going, remember, hit that subscribe button, whether you're listening on the Odyssey app, Apple, or Spotify. Subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Check it out on YouTube as well. We are on the WEI channel. We've got the Play Tessie playlist within it, so hit the thumbs up. We appreciate when you guys do that. And check us out on the socials, at Play Tessie on both Twitter and Instagram. And as always, keep your eyes on the podcast feed. We've got a good episode and a good interview with our good friend Chris Murphy dropping for you guys tomorrow. So keep your eyes out for that. But for now, man, Sox finished the first half. They're 11 games over 500, which is a season high. They are 2 games up on a playoff spot. They are 3.5 back of the top wild card spot, which is the Yankees for now, because they totally suck. They are 4.5 back of the Orioles in the division. They have also been cold. The Red Sox are here. They finished the first half with a bang. We talked over and over again on the last episode about this Royals series, how difficult it could be with the pitching matchups. I think we all expected them to lose the Reagans game. Tough lefty, whatever. They have not hit lefties well, but guess what? They've hit righties well, and it doesn't matter who's on the mound if you're right-handed. Seth Lugo, lowest ERA in the AL. Doesn't matter. Double-digit hits. Brady Singer having a really good year. I know we talked about how the eye test didn't match it, but he coming into the start with an ERA below 3 in the first half, having a good year, and they took it to him. 4 runs in the first 2 innings. They knocked him right out of that game. Of course, after they threw a bunch of lefty relievers, it became a little bit tougher. But guess what? They took it to Singer when it counted. They got the job done. Kenley Jansen coming in for 2 innings, which he is more than a vet. He did not have to do that. He made himself available, knowing the bullpen was short. Came in, did the job. Cedon saves the game, and the Sox take 2 out of 3 in a series with the team that is right on their tail for that 3rd wild card spot. What a huge win on Sunday. What a huge series win overall. I'm here with Sammy and Pat, and we're going to talk today not just about the Royals series. We don't have a series to preview right now, so guess what? It's time to recap what has been a pleasantly surprising first half. Guys, how are we feeling?
I'm upset. I'm upset that we have to wait until Friday at 10 p.m. to watch more Red Sox baseball, man. I mean, what a half. That was unbelievable. Like, not only did they win, but they won in the most exciting, fun ways. We've had multiple games of the year, quote unquote, just way, way surpassed expectations. Granted, long way to go. We know that, but I had this team finishing at 81-81. I thought they'd be 500 on the dot. I feel really bad about that pick in a good way. And man, I can't wait for Friday. I just want more Red Sox baseball. This is addicting. It's electric.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be curious to see if you pulled up old pods from like May whenever they started to kind of turn it up. I want to say we were saying like, oh, please just be like 2 or 3 games over 500 by the All-Star break. You'll be in a good spot. They're 11 over. They're in lone control of Gordo, the 3rd wild card spot right now. And they're what?
Yep.
3.5 back of the Yankees?
Yep. We'll see what the Twins do today. Because what?
How can you not be romantic about baseball?
Damn, Pat.
Oh,
that's poetic, man.
Speaking of, beautifully said on a day where Alex Verdugo, who unceremoniously left the Red Sox, he tripped and fell in the outfield, leading to the Yankees losing.
No.
Yes. Beautiful, poetic baseball, Pat. Yeah, man. I mean, I remember a point earlier in the year where I was complaining about not caring when they lose because they had a rough stretch and the season was going kind of how we thought it would go, if that makes sense. And I just remember coming on here and being like, I'm not even upset that they lost. This is what I expected. I'm just riding this one out. I didn't want to be right about the team. I felt, Ooh, cool, got a prediction right. But now that I'm so much happier being completely wrong about this team. This is great, man. And just the personalities with this group, it seems like they all get along so well. Bunch of good guys. There's no bad eggs. Like, man, I don't even know what to say. Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I wish I had like written down what the point is, because like I live and die with every game until the team is out of it. That's just like how I root. But Sammy, you took a little bit to get to the point where like the game actually like, felt like it mattered to you. And I wish I knew, and maybe do you know when that occurred? Do you know like what series that happened in? Or can you guess?
I don't know the exact series, but it was kind of around the time when after the Pirates series, when a lot of injuries started piling up, like Casas out, Yoshida had his hand thing, Whitlock went down. We thought it was a minor thing. Oh, now he's out for the season. It just kept piling up. And, like we had Houck and Kutter to look to. Like those are positives. Kenley, we were kind of unsure of. He was getting the job done, but it didn't look pretty. So there were just so many things that were up in the air at that point. Oh, Devers was out for a while. I completely forgot about that. That feels like it was a million years ago where Devers missed time. And just so many things were going wrong. I felt like this was the baseball gods punishing Red Sox ownership for neglecting the team. But I don't know what clicked. The biggest thing that we should be talking about is Alex Cora, because this is an incredibly young team under a lot of pressure, and they've just performed night after night after night, and he's pulled all the right strings. He's the real MVP of this team, like if you're asking me, Alex Cora.
Yeah, I think the turning point this year was, remember how down in the dumps we were after they split with the White Sox? And then they immediately went 2 out of 3 from the Phillies, 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, swept the Blue Jays, 2 out of 3 from the Reds, and then split a 2-game series with the Blue Jays.
All right, Pat, I'm going to stop you there. Where in that window, because I don't want to hear it from anyone that they believed when they took 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. Where was the point in time where you said, doesn't mean you have to, that was when you thought they were going to make the playoffs or something. It's just when you said,
I think after the Yankee series. So winning 4 out of 6 between the Phillies and Yankees, I was like, okay, maybe they might be pretty good.
That's me.
And then they took care of business. Like they swept a pretty shitty Blue Jays team. And then the Reds at the time were kind of in the wild card mix. Like they were a team kind of seen on like the Sox level. Took 2 out of 3 from them. So I would say I was starting to be convinced after the Yankee series. And then the whatever it was, winning 5 out of 6 between Toronto and Cincy. I was like, all right, this team might be pretty good.
Yeah, and it was also the way they won some of those games too. Like the Reds game, I just remember the third game in that series was a Red Sox bullpen game versus Nick Lodolo, a lefty, a really good high strikeout lefty. I know it's the Sunday Sox, but taking that out of it, and by the way, they're 15-1 on Sundays. But taking that out of the equation, it felt like maybe not as close to it, because the Reagans one is to me as close to a scheduled loss as you can get. But I mean, they came to play, and if I remember that game correctly, it was never, I don't want to say it was never in doubt, but like they pretty much had a lead start to finish. And like that really makes you open your eyes when they followed these series one after another, after another, after another. It's like the consistency of it. It's not like in past years, it's the Sox would sweep a really hard series and then they would lose 2 out of 3 to like the Rockies. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing?
Right. It would be like 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Yes.
And I think I agree with Pat on when I kind of sort of started to believe that this team could be something. And Kenley Jansen mentioned it on Baseball Isn't Boring with Bradfo the other day. When they beat the Phillies and Yankees in those series, and they beat those quote unquote big boy teams, they weren't beating Oakland. They were beating 2 of the best teams in Major League Baseball. I think the Phillies still are the best team in Major League Baseball. But at the time, when the Phillies came to town, they had the best record in Major League Baseball, lost 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox, which made the Yankees have the best record in baseball. Then the Yankees come to Boston, and the Red Sox take 2 out of 3. That was the turning point for me, and Kenley Jansen kind of said that that's what showed the clubhouse that they can hang with these guys and even beat them. So that's my turning point. There's a lot of different ones you can point to, a lot of big moments this year, and I think that in the past, it's those teams that have a knack for making those big moments happen. Those are the teams that make the playoffs and go on a run.
Yeah, and another thing, and this will kind of tie in with the Royals series that just happened, but you could see maybe 2 weeks ago Houck had a couple of bad outings. Kutter looked like he was slowing down a little bit. The guys that had carried you that were starting to approach their career highs in innings looked like they were starting to slow down a little bit. And the kind of turning point was that, because Pat, you said they split a 2-game series with the Blue Jays. That happened because the third game got rained out. Kutter pitched 1 inning, and then that game got rained out, and they had an off day mixed in there. And he had a bunch of off days in between starts, goes against the Marlins, crushes it, goes against the Yankees through I want to say 68 pitches through 7 scoreless innings. All right. And here with the Royals, he throws 96 pitches to go 7 scoreless with 4 strikeouts. He was, and coming off a loss too. Like, you talk about having guys that can be stoppers, guys that, and it's funny that I call it say stopper because it was literally just 1 loss. But it's like, we don't want to stack losses up. We want to see them win, especially against a team like the Royals, who at the time of Cutter's start, that wild card spot was tied. The Royals beat Kutter Crawford there. Guess what? Sox are outside looking in on a playoff spot going into Sunday, and we see what happens in this game. And if they'd won it, they would have been tied. But being up 2 games is a hell of a lot different than being tied. That was a ballsy effort from Kutter to go 7 shut against a hot offense, a team that was coming off 10, 8, and 6 runs in their last 3 games, all wins coming into the series, and then took it again to Cooper Criswell, scored 6 runs in the first game. So 10, 8, 6, and 6 was their run production before getting blanked by Kutter and Zach Kelly in the second game. And it really kind of set the stage for them to come out there and win the third game, leading from start to finish. Actually, I take it back. Bale let up a homer in the first, but you know what I mean.
Pretty much start to finish. A small little blip in the radar. We talk about vibes a lot on this podcast. We're a big vibe cast. We think that matters. I think a lot of people agree. Vibes are important. This game that they won today, huge vibe shift heading into the break. Vibes were good. If they had lost, it kind of would have been like, oh man, well, they would have been tied. So we're tied for a spot. I mean, that's still pretty good, still above expectation. But now we're talking get the hell out of here, Royals. Vibes are great. Happy flight headed into the break. Everyone headed home. Kenley is psyched about his downtime. He was super happy to not be an all-star, which I thought was hilarious. Another shout out to baseball isn't boring, but this was a big vibes win today, as well as a standings win.
Yeah, you didn't need to win today, but the vibes were much needed because after the break, through the end of July, they have 3 with the Dodgers, 3 with the Rockies, whatever, 3 with the Yankees, 3 with the Mariners. So you have quite the gauntlet leading into the All-Star break. So going out on a high note, getting vibes high, a couple days off, let everybody rest up. Huge.
That Rockies one will mess you up too. I know that the team is bad, but after you leave Colorado, you have to reacclimate. That series after Colorado is a pain in the ass. So hopefully they sweep Colorado, and then hopefully it doesn't affect them too much.
Yep.
We'll get there.
Do I have it right? Is the first game after the Rocky series also a Friday? I'll check on that.
Oh God!
Yes, it is Friday the 26th.
That's a scheduled loss. Oh, it's the Yankees. Okay, I take it back. Maybe not.
Yeah, they also because everyone's making a big deal of that stretch. Kind of this is huge. Can't it is. It's a big stretch. They also have a stretch of games in August that is they could make up serious ground if they need to. They have 3 with the D-backs, 5 with the Blue Jays, 3 with the Tigers, 3 with the Mets, 3 with the White Sox.
Wow!
After the deadline too. So those guys who have good pieces will be gone.
Tied for that spot, you can make up a ton of ground there. That's a huge stretch.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, dude, I'm feeling good. I feel like the schedule. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because it's not out of the question that these guys just fall flat on their face and this is all a big disappointment. But with the tough matchups coming up and a teeny bit of a cushion now, I feel really good about this Red Sox team. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time, Pat, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time the Red Sox playoff odds are above 50% since mid 2022. So there's a reason we're feeling good.
Yep. And we went into the series with the Royals And I declared it not a must-win series. I declared it a must-not-get-swept series, which obviously, like, it's 3 games, and you could make it up. Like, you could make it up by sweeping the Dodgers and surprising. But to me, I think All-Star break vibes, when you have to sit on it, and maybe it was more so just for, like, our own sanity more so than it was for their actual chances of making the playoffs. But having a share of a playoff spot, I thought was important going into the break because they had it in front of them. Not only do they have a share of the playoff spot, they've got the playoff spot. They're 2 games up. And as we record this, the Twins are losing, so they could be just a half game back of the second spot. And to be honest with you, and we're gonna talk about first half stuff in a sec, but Rafael Devers, he has 9 home runs in his last 17 games. That is the type of stuff that you see the national media honking Aaron Judge for. Like, that's what you see. Like, if Aaron Judge did that, it would be all over the front pages of all the different media outlets. And Devers just kind of, it's weird. Like, for us, he's not quiet. But, like, for whatever reason on the national stage, he just doesn't get the love he deserves, I feel like. But he's been absolutely dominant. One of the hardest outs in baseball right now. He is crazy. He's been doing it hurt, too.
I feel like he could be a star if he just, does more media.
Star.
That's
what you mean. That's what you mean.
Pat, so here's a Devers thing for you. Yesterday, on Saturday, the 13th, Gordo and I were at Fenway doing media stuff, and Devers is like a Pokemon. He comes out of the clubhouse, and he just goes, makes a little chirp, runs onto the field. He sees Gordo and I laughing at us, and then he looks at us, and he just does like a and just like goes out to the field. He's literally like a Pokemon. He just makes sounds like
my favorite video. My favorite Raffy video is from, I think it was spring training this past year, maybe. No, it was last year because Verdugo's in it. And he just goes, "Now you slow, bro. Raffy."
I said that. Sammy, didn't I say that yesterday? That's what it reminded me of?
I love that video.
You're slow, bro. His
slow,
OPS,
bro.
He's up to 977. That's so crazy. He's pretty good. I would tell you his OPS plus, but Baseball Reference takes 9,000 years to update, so I can't. Sorry, listeners. You'll have to look it up as you're listening. It's probably high.
So before we get into some first half and I know we've definitely mixed in the general first half talk here a lot, but Sox take 2 out of 3 from the Royals. We do need to pick a Play Tessie Series MVP. Again.
Easy choice. May I please go first?
I would be happy to let you.
Dom Smith, the step first baseman. That is my freaking series MVP, and I'm so happy about it. Dom Smith is really nice to Gordo and I when we go to Fenway.
I love Dom Smith.
He's super nice, so we're big Dom Smith fans. But jokes aside, he really did play well. This is the second and third game of the series. The second game, I think this kind of flew under the radar. He made a big scoop early on in the game. Devers, I believe, threw it from third. It was a tough play, off balance, and Smith had to lean over the first baseline and dig it while keeping his foot on the bag. Yeah, super high-level play. He pulled it off, and then he has an RBI shortly after. And then game 2, he hits a 2-run shot, absolutely blasted it off of Brady Singer into the bullpen. So just an all-around good game for him, or good series for him. He's been very serviceable. I think serviceable is kind of an injustice to him. He's been better than serviceable as the step first baseman for the Red Sox. He's not the step first baseman. He's the first baseman who stepped up, I should say. And it's great to see him doing well. Dom Smith, that's the pick.
God, this is a tough one because like you could also go with Devers if you wanted to. He hit a couple of bombs, but like, dude, I think that sign, and that's gonna be my enough said, so I'll save the story. But like, yeah, that sign that we saw may have saved the season. Pat, you go. I gotta mull this over because you could pick Kutter too.
You could.
Like this would be the one series to pick a starting pitcher if you were ever gonna do it.
Yeah, you could go Kutter. I'm going Dom Smith. I think he was just all over the place for the whole series. Played great defense. Made a really good play today. A little backhanded stab, flip over to Bayo. He was just all over the place. Knocked in runs. I'm going Dom Smith, but shout out Kutter because Kutter was an absolute tank. So, yeah, Dom Smith is my pick.
Yeah, I mean, after further thought, and it's not just because my vote doesn't count for anything at this point. It is Dom Smith. The dude had 2 RBIs in the second game, hit a huge bomb in the third game, and honestly, maybe the moment of the series was him driving in that RBI in the 9th or in the 8th inning, but in the middle of Kenley Jansen's 2 innings. Sox were up by 1. Kenley just blew through the heart of the order in the 8th, but Dom Smith makes sure that Kenley has an extra run to work with, an extra run lead to work with going into the 9th. Kenley Jansen is not a guy who goes 2 innings often, and he obviously was not quite the same guy. Like, he dominated the 8th. He was not quite the same in the 9th, but he knew what he had to do for the team.
This game-winning hit.
They don't necessarily. I don't want to say they lose the game without that RBI because it potentially would have just gone to extras, but that hit won them the game. And
yeah,
so
he had the game-winning hit. Go ahead, sorry.
Dom Smith is a deserving Play Tessie Series MVP, and oh my God, do I love Dom Smith, the first baseman who stepped up.
Yes, sir. He also scored the game-winning run yesterday on Saturday, so he's all over the place.
Chugging.
Also, so I had a tweet about Kutter Crawford saying that was one of the most impressive outings of the season, and a lot of comments were like, "Oh, it was good, but it wasn't that impressive." He threw, let me get these numbers right. He threw 96 pitches, 76 strikes. That's insane. He barely threw a ball the entire game. So he's
been doing it. That's what he's been doing for 3 starts. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's almost an 80% strike rate, 79.2. That's nuts. So that's why I thought it was an impressive performance. He didn't get the strikeouts that you want to see, but man, throw strikes.
And his ERA is down to, I believe, 3.04 now.
Yep. So
this is a guy who, he started the year and we were talking about all-star. And then, as I said before, he kind of had a little bit of hiccup, a small stretch of hiccup starts where they weren't terrible, but it wasn't the same. And that Blue Jays rain out, he's been a different guy since he has been dominant.
ERA plus of 141. And if you're not familiar with that stat, ERA plus 100 is average, which means that Kutter Crawford has been 41% better than the average major league pitcher in 2024. That is really good.
All right, fellas. I think it's time that we give out some first half awards.
Ooh.
The unofficial first half. I think that's fair. So the first one is for team MVP. And we have a Cy Young coming up. So, obviously you could, it's like baseball. You could give it to the pitcher if you want, but you've got another award to give to him later if you so choose. So who would be the team MVP? Sammy, I'll start with you.
I'm going to go with, this is tough. We just had this conversation with Murph. Tune in tomorrow for that episode. I'm going to go with Jarren Duran. And the reason I'm going with Jarren Duran is, of course, he's the Iron Man. That's a huge, huge trait to have. He has not missed a single game this year. But it's mostly the improvements he's made. He looked pretty good in 2023, but nothing crazy that would make you think he's about to become a top 15, 20 player in Major League Baseball. This guy has been amazing. Today, as we're recording, he got 4 hits, just ridiculous. His OPS is over 800. He's stealing a ton of bases. He's turning ground balls through the infield into doubles somehow. Home runs, he's got a little bit of power there too, double digits. So, and then I think the biggest surprise for me, at least with Jarren Duran, is the defense, because that was the biggest knock on him coming up from the minors. Is that decent power, the hit tool is okay, the speed is incredible, but the defense, this guy stinks. And not only has he improved defensively, he's become a legit plus defender at a premium position in center field. And on top of that, you can just move him over to left field whenever you want, and he's great there too. So between the offense, the speed, the defense, the versatility, and a little bit of a leadership role too from the guys we've spoken to, it sounds like Jarren Duran is pretty vocal in that clubhouse, getting these guys fired up. I think that's my team MVP for the first half. But an honorable mention to Rafael Devers, who has also been just unbelievable with the bat and some, modest improvements with the defense as well. So Jarren Duran is my pick. Honorable mention to Rafael Devers.
Pat, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, You could say any of the three All-Stars, and you have a very real case for being correct. I'm going with Rafi. I think his offensive output this year is, I know the RBIs aren't crazy high, but he's got a 970 something OPS,
978.
978 OPS, 22 home runs, I believe, as of yesterday. The other thing too, like Sammy said with Duran, he's starting to play some okay defense. Not saying he's going to win a Gold Glove over there, but he's been better than years prior. He seems to be a little more passionate this year. The bat flip in New York, more vocal, kind of taking like the behind the scenes leadership. He's kind of starting to embrace being the face of the franchise a little bit. I'm going with Devers. I think he's kind of not that he hadn't put it together in years prior, but I think everything's really clicking for him right now in this year.
Yeah, and not to mention, like, talk about leadership. That's something that he's been hesitant to do in the past, being one of the younger guys on the team, but now he's kind of not anymore. And Alex Cora has talked about all of the leadership that he is. I don't even know the word. Whatever. He's been a great leader, and that's something that he's taken on himself. But it kills me because I'm split down the middle with those two guys. It's one of those two. But I think I have to go with Jarren Duran just because he set the tone. He sets the tone for how this particular Red Sox team plays. They steal a bunch of bases. They play great outfield defense. They're going to be the more athletic team day in and day out. And that all starts with him and the fact that he's been able to take on a leadership role, especially considering how low he was just a couple of years ago. It's been so impressive to see what he's done. So team MVP of the first half, 2 votes for Jarren Duran, 1 for Rafi Devers. So Jarren Duran is a Play Tessie first half MVP. Second question is the team Cy Young of the first half. Pat, I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tanner Houck. He's done his job every single outing, except that weird, was it the Yankee game when he was the rain out? Padres. And then he came back in and he was a little funky. Yeah. Aside from that, maybe one other outing all year long, he's just gone out and shoved. He's throwing innings. He's striking guys out. He's not walking guys. He's been everything you could have hoped for more. It's Tanner Houck.
Yeah, I think this is the easiest question we're going to have in this award show. Tanner Houck is by far the Cy Young. Kutter Crawford's done really well, but Tanner Houck, here's some Tanner Houck numbers. He's got a 2.54 ERA, 112 strikeouts already. He's logged 117 innings. He's going to blow by his former innings pitched in a season total. His ERA plus 168. That is really good. He's striking out 8.6 through 9. It's all right. Only walking 2 over 9. That's great. And then the 0.4 home runs over 9 innings, which leads the league. That is the big difference maker for me. So he is not giving it up. He is dominant. He looks so relaxed out there. As a fan watching the team, when he's on the mound, the look he has makes me calm from my couch. I'm like, this guy's got this. I'm not worried. It's friggin' Tanner Houck. So for a guy that we didn't even think should be in the rotation to start the season, let's be honest, all of us were like, ideally he's in the bullpen, but he could be in the rotation. He's been your ace. He's been one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. Tanner Houck is the Cy Young of the Red Sox.
Yeah, I really don't have that much to add. He's the Red Sox lone all-star pitcher. You can make arguments that other pitchers deserve to be there, but there's no argument that anyone is more deserving than Tanner Houck for this. I mean, he's been their ace. He is their ace. This is the ace of the staff. I don't know if there's anyone who's not saying that at this point. So Tanner Houck, definitely 3 votes. No one else gets 1. And I think that's justified. He's the team Cy Young. All right. Next question is the biggest surprise on the team. This is an interesting one. I'll go first on this one. I'm taking David Hamilton for my biggest surprise. This is a guy who was not on the opening day roster. I don't think anyone expected him to be on the opening day roster. I think everyone in their best case scenario for David Hamilton would have hoped that he is a guy who could be like a pinch runner on a playoff team, maybe play some second base defense, but no one wanted any part of him at shortstop. And he certainly early on was not good at shortstop. This is a guy who is now hitting at the top of the lineup. He is playing good defense I'm not saying he's playing like elite shortstop defense or anything, but he is able to play that position. So Cedon can get outfield reps in center field where he is at his best and at his most valuable. This guy has been everything. He has a 745 OPS, and that's after starting the season pretty bad. He's hitting 274, 5 bombs in 197 at bats. So this is a guy who, in a full season, is going to have double-digit home runs. So
it's like a 20 home run pace full year.
I'm not I am kind of a math guy, but I'm not going to be a math guy here.
It's more like 15, but
So he's been more than solid, which is way better than I could have ever expected from him. Sammy, who you got here?
I'm gonna agree with you on that one. David Hamilton, even when the season started, when he first came up from AAA, like not only did he not start on the team, but when he came up, we were just ripping this guy to shreds. We went on WEI. We were talking about how you got to send this guy down. He's not a shortstop, and he probably isn't a shortstop, but we were just ripping this guy to shreds. The bat, the glove, the timidity on the bases. Remember early on, he wasn't even running when he did get on base. And I have no clue what happened, but something clicked. I think it was getting him off of shortstop full time when they put Rafaela there, just way less for him to think about. And now he's hitting, he's stealing bases. The defense is fine. David Hamilton, that's my pick.
Pat, are you going to make it 3-0 here, or are you going to pick someone else?
No, I'm going to pick someone different.
Let's hear it.
Because David Hamilton has been nothing short of the most pleasant surprise ever. I am picking Connor Wong for the massive leap he took offensively. He's been held his own behind the plate, still has a good arm. Last year, he played 126 games, hit 235, OPS plus of 80. He was 20% below league average. This year, 69 games, 270 plate appearances, 8 home runs, 32 RBI, 4 steals, hitting 309 with an OPS plus of 125. People last year were, thank God they drafted Kyle Teal. Thank God we haven't had a catcher in so long. Connor Wong's holding his own and more. Fringe All-Star this year. Great surprise. I'm taking Connor Wong.
What's crazy too, I'm just gonna go up and down the roster here and talk about not talk about, but list the guys who you in theory could have picked. Ref Snyder's been better than anyone thought he would be. Willier's been better than anyone thought he would be. Cedon has been better. David Hamilton, we talked about. Romy Gonzalez better than anyone thought he would be. Emmanuel Valdez had like a mid-900s OPS in the month of June. Dom Smith has been a real pleasant surprise. Connor Wong, as you said, let's see. Pitching Slayton was a Rule 5 pick and is now dominating. Nick Pivetta. Nick Pivetta is having about what we thought he would have. Kutter for sure. Zach Kelly, absolutely dominant out of the bullpen. Bernie with a 1 ZRA dominating. Kenley Jansen having a better year than he did last year. We talked about Houck. Cooper Criswell has been better than we thought he would be. There are very few guys who you can look at and say have been worse than you thought they would be. But that's going to be the next question. Is the biggest disappointment on the team? Pat, who do you got for the biggest disappointment on the team?
It's Brian Bayo. And it's Brian Bayo because after piecing together a decent season last year, finished the year with a 4.24, first full season of majors. That's fine. 4.24. You're sitting around maybe a 4.5 starter. This year, somehow, I honest to God, I don't know how. He is 9-5. But he has a 5.4 ERA. He's walking guys. ERA plus of 79, 21% worse than league average. His whip is a 1.5. He's letting up home runs. He can't control. The command's bad. It was a huge letdown of a first half for Brian Bayo for me.
Sammy?
Makes sense. I'll go Masataka Yoshida, and a lot of this is because I thought this was going to be the breakout player of the season. We spoke a lot about Yoshida's 2023 campaign with the caveat that he played a lot of games, playing in the World Baseball Classic before the season. That's like 15 extra games on top of a longer Major League Baseball schedule, and he's playing the field and he's adjusting to everything. He doesn't speak the language, so he's kind of on an island in that regard. Like, a lot of things were against him in 2023. Fast forward to 2024. He's had a season to adjust. There's no World Baseball Classic. He's not playing the field anymore. He's being used as a DH 99% of the time. I think he's played like 5 innings in left field all season, so he's a DH. I really thought that he was going to come into his own and be a very solid designated hitter. Now, he has 5 for his last 6 for his last 19. That's like a 315 average. But even that, he's got an OPS below 700. The power just hasn't been there. On the bright side, he probably has the best moment of the season for the Red Sox with that home run he hit at Yankee Stadium. But overall, he just really hasn't met expectations. Pretty disappointed in what we've seen from Yoshida, but hopefully this last week continues after the All-Star break. We'll see, though. That's my pick for the biggest disappointment so far.
Yeah, so this is an interesting category here because I don't want to pick like in theory you could be like, oh, Tristan Casas because he hasn't played. Garrett Whitlock got hurt. Like you could pick those guys, but it's like I want to pick a guy who didn't necessarily like. It's like when you get hurt, it's not your fault. Like you just got hurt. Like Casas swung a bat and got hurt. Garrett Whitlock threw a baseball and got hurt. So I'm not going to do that. I could pick. I was looking at Vaughn Grissom. Like this guy has a 367 OPS and 81 at bats, but I honestly think a lot of that has to do with the injuries he's had, and then he got sick. It's like I know it's really disappointing to trade Chris Sale and then not have that guy step up right away. But I think the one guy, and like Sammy, you made some good points about Yoshida. I've also been pretty disappointed in his first half, but I also had fairly low expectations for him coming into the year just because of how he finished last year. For me, Brian Bayo gets the extension, all the hype of being that top prospect, had such a good first half last year. Gets the opening day start, and you think he's going to be the ace of the staff. And like, obviously like Tanner Houck steps up, and thank God he did, because Brian Bayo has been far from the ace of the staff. It doesn't mean that I don't think he can be a good pitcher, a really good pitcher in the future. I really do think he can. He's got the stuff to do it. He needs a lot of refining, both with his stuff, location, mentality, like all that. Just hasn't, it's been far from the first half we've wanted from Bayo. They won obviously on Sunday, and he pitched fairly well, but I just know that there is so much more to be had from him, and I expected it this year, and it's been disappointing to not get it. This one should be, I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this one should be a pretty easy one. Game of the first half. Sammy, what's your game of the first half? You just said it. So
yeah, I kind of gave away my pick. It's got to be that game against the Yankees where Yoshida hit that clutch home run. I'll bring us back. It was, I believe, 3-2. What were the Red Sox were down by 2, I believe. Ninth inning. Clay Holmes, say what you want about him. He's nasty. He's on the bump. Red Sox are down to their last out. Dom Smith, single up the middle, keeps the rally alive. We love Dom Smith. Yoshida comes up. He was starting to heat up a little bit at that point, but he wasn't really on a hot stretch yet. And he gets 2 strikes on him. Red Sox down to their last strike at Yankee Stadium. Yankees fans are doing the thing where they stand up and clap, getting ready to see their team win. And Yoshida said, fuck you, buddy. Boom. Home run. Tie game. Extra innings. Sadan hits a home run. Red Sox take the lead. Red Sox win. That was just the ultimate uppercut to the groin for the Yankees. Felt great as a Red Sox fan. So that is my, by far, pick for game of the year. It's a little bit of a tongue twister. Pick for game of the year.
Pat, what is your pick for game of the year?
I mean, I'm also going with the Massa home run, the 10-inning game. But one other game that came to mind that I feel like does deserve a shout out is Tanner Houck's Greg Maddux game. Complete game shutout, 9 strikeouts, and he did it on 94 pitches. He was unhittable. That was on April 17th against Cleveland, who is one of legitimately the best 3 teams in the MLB this year. That was another game that came to my mind, but it's hard not to. It's so sweet beating the Yankees, and it's so much better beating their closer. So I'm going with the Massa game.
Yeah, I mean, my pick's going to be the Massa game too. I mean, down to your last strike and to tie it with a 2-run homer in Yankee Stadium is ridiculous. And then for Cedon in the very next inning to just put the game away was awesome. It crushed Yankee fans' souls and made me jump for joy. It was amazing. Shout out also to that Blue Jays game where the Red Sox were down 4 in the 8th inning. Romy Gonzalez ended up having the game-tying 2-run single there, and then Duran walks it off while Derek White is in the stands in a baseball isn't boring shirt. It's hard to beat that, but Yoshida did it. So that is our game of the year. Before we transition into Enough Said, I'm gonna give us a quick rundown. I don't think I texted this to you guys, so you're gonna be hearing about our preseason picks for some of these categories. I'll read you just to give a quick update on where we stand.
Oh God.
Win prediction. I had 78. Pat had 83. Sammy had 82. It's looking like we're all going to be low, but particularly me.
I picked 82.
You picked 82.
I thought I said 81 and 80. Okay, cool. Makes me feel slightly better.
You want to feel worse?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here are our picks for Breakout Star.
Oh no.
I had Garrett Whitlock. Pat had Vaughn Grissom. Sammy had Masataka Yoshida.
Oh my God. You know what's funny?
There's still time. There's still time for you guys, not for me. I'm dead.
You know what's funny is so far I'm the closest, and I'm not even remotely close.
It's true.
That's awful. My God. Whoops. They all made sense at the time.
All right. Slept on player to have a big year. Pat, I didn't get yours on this, but Sammy had Trevor Story. That unfortunately will not happen. I had Tyler O'Neill, which was a pretty good pick. Team Cy Young, Sammy and I had Bayo, and Pat had Whitlock. So still time for Sammy and I's pick to turn it around. Pat, your pick will not turn it around this year. Stolen base leader. Pat and I both picked Cidon Rafaela. Sammy picked Jarren Duran. Biggest general concern. I picked the offense. Pat picked Devers' defense, and Sammy picked the rotation. To be honest with you, I don't know that there's a right answer to this. To this
I
point,
think you're closest. You're closest,
Probably.
Gordo, because the offense has been good, but there's a glaring weakness, and that glaring weakness is they can't hit lefties at all. So yeah, I guess you win that one. I think closest so far.
Yeah, I'm in the lead by a small margin. I mean, it's been good all around. Biggest general strength. Pat and I both said the bullpen. Sammy said the offense. I think the bullpen has definitely been more of a strength than the offense to this point. But again, it's all been good.
Yeah.
Biggest player concern. Pat, I didn't get yours for this either. Sammy, you had Pivetta, and I had Yoshida. So I'm definitely in the lead for this one. Pivetta's definitely had an up and down run, but definitely not a bad first half. Probably just around what we expected. Up and down.
The reason I picked him is because everyone was mocking him to be just to magically become a number 2 or an ace kind of starter. And if he didn't, I didn't see the contingency plan for it. Granted, we didn't have Kutter Crawford and Tanner Houck turning into monsters out of nowhere. So happily wrong with that.
Predicting Trevor Story's season. Pat had 24 homers, 25 steals. Sammy had 25 steals, 23 steals. And I had an 800 OPS and a fully healthy season. We are all wrong. Most home runs. Sammy and I picked Devers. I had 39 home runs and Sammy had 41. He's on pace for right in that margin. Pat had Costas with 36. I mean, in theory, he could still technically do it, but it's probably not getting that high. He could just go on a. It's like an.
All he's got to do is he just needs a 40 home run half. Pat.
Yeah,
it's the shorter half too. So just do it, Costas. Come on.
Will Kenley Jansen finish the year on the Sox? Both of you guys said no. I said yes, although I said it with a caveat that I thought it was going to be because he got hurt. So I don't know how much credit I want to take for it.
No credit. No credit.
The question was, did he finish the year on the Sox? He still may not, so we'll see. Which new reliever will be the most impactful? We all said Isaiah Campbell. We definitely should have said Justin Slayton. Which big 3 prospect will make debuts? You guys both took Teal. I took Teal and Meyer. We'll see there. Hottest take. Oh, Pat, yours is good. You guys are, well, Pat, I guess technically could be right. Sammy, you said Costas is going to start the All-Star game. So Sammy will not get his right. Pat said Tanner Houck will be in the bullpen by the end of the year.
Whoa.
Unless it's in an attempt to limit his innings or something. That's not happening.
Hey, wait, but Costas is going to. He's the only media member that's a player, so he's a starting media member.
He is a starting media member.
There you go.
Mine was that Tyler O'Neill is going to have a good enough season to get the Benintendi contract or more, which is 5 years, $75 million.
Ooh.
We'll see. I don't know. So that's what we got there. So we had some fun ones where we just look like absolute morons. We had some where we looked pretty okay, but yeah, my favorite there. Ooh, what's my favorite there? Is it that How to the Pen by the End of the Year by Pat? Or no, my favorite is the breakout star. The breakout star with all of us being so painfully wrong. That's the best.
Yeah. Can we go over that one again? So our breakout stars were Vaughn Grissom, Yoshida, and Whitlock.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. We missed it. We missed that one. We were pretty good on some of those. Not that one.
We were saying too, right before this, we were picking like biggest surprise. Gordo was literally like, yeah, not many guys you can pick that are worse than you could have thought. In every single pick we just made was one of those guys.
Yeah. Oof. So that's that. Okay. Well, we will definitely revisit those picks at the end of the year when the season is said and done. But for now, before we wrap this baby up, do you guys have any enough seds? Any enough seds from the crew?
Yeah. Pat, you want to go before me?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think it was yesterday. I don't know what their show is called, but the show with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. Kevin Garnett introduced Paul Pierce to Edwin Diaz's walkout and his entrance. And I think Joe has the clip of it. Warning here. It is Kevin Garnett talking. There is intense profanity.
Oh.
So do with that what you will.
Well, we are over 40 minutes longer than when you have to limit the profanity.
Shout out YouTube algorithm.
Here we go.
That match joint when my boy walk out there, motherfucker, like he about to throw the straight. Man, is that not the hardest shit in sports?
What you talking about?
Oh my God, y'all ain't known it. Y'all ain't known it. It's like a 30 to 60 second riff of a on the horn, and he be in there warming up, and they say, okay, cool, boom, here, throw that bitch out. He walk out like this, Pete. Going crazy, walking out like this at this speed as you walk to the mound, P, and the place going crazy. And then you see on the side of them, and then they show up from the back, and motherfuckers waving the towel. That's the hardest thing in sports. Look, hold on, wait. We ain't ready yet. Watch this. Okay, you ready? Watch this. Look how they ready for him. Look how they ready for him. Watch this. Look how that walk out.
Is this some old shit?
No, look. Look how I walk out.
This is lit. This is like some
Watch.
Like it's over, huh? It's over.
Look how you walk out. Watch how the walk out. Look,
Like it's
he
over.
ain't. Lord, he walking like this. Like I'm finna smoke this. Oh, this the hardest thing in sports.
This is dope.
This is hard.
No, this is dope.
Lord, that's the hardest thing in sports. He got.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It is
So
sick.
good.
That brought me so much joy. That's growing the game right there. That's the shit that makes MLB what it is, like growing the sport. But just hearing Kevin Garnett trying to explain it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it's like crossover audience that reaches beyond just the baseball bubble. I wonder how it feels as the opposing team when they're doing that trumpet thing and you're like warming up on deck and you're like, okay, we still have to hit. Like, so it's probably pretty insulting. Yeah. Well, he's nasty, so he can do that. But all right. Good one, Pat. Here, my enough said Twitter, now known as X, is trying out a beta version of the Explore function on their app. And today, as we are recording, the Yankees had a really great comeback followed by a really hilarious meltdown in which they lost. But a YouTuber, his name is Fuzzy, he's a baseball YouTuber, good channel. He tweeted out, where were you when Ben Rice hit his 72nd home run and saved the Yankees season? Obviously a joke. He didn't hit his 72nd home run. He hit his fifth home run. And then Jared Carrabis tweets the video of Alex Verdugo tripping and falling and losing the game for the Yankees. But his caption was a sarcastic, holy shit, an amazing catch by Alex Verdugo, and the Yankees win. The Explore function on X doesn't pick up on sarcasm. So they had a whole section that read, Rookie Ben Rice's 72nd homer propels Yankees to victory. And they had all these comments and stuff, a whole segment that they took out of the sports page on X for that. And they have since deleted it. Yeah,
That's unreal.
that's so funny. And it's funny, too, because if you go to the explore function, it says beta in the corner. So they're testing it out, which just makes it even better. It doesn't read sarcasm clearly. So, just another little dunk on the Yankees in a half that has featured a lot of that.
Certainly adding insult to injury, which I always appreciate.
Yes.
All right, my enough said. So we're at the game yesterday, and we're sitting at like the third base on deck circle. And there's this guy in front of us. And shout out Sox Addict, who we were sitting with. Super nice. Love her. Big shouts. This guy a few rows in front of us has a sign. And on one side of it was like the Carita cooler, like the Devers cooler thing, don't touch. And on the other side it had like a drawing of Dom Smith. And it said, Dom Smith isn't the step first baseman. He's the first baseman that stepped up. And of course, Dom Smith is our series MVP. Shout out to that guy for the sign, which propelled him to that. But security took it. Security took the sign, and you could see it. It was like leaning up against the back row of the seats for like the final 7 innings of the game. It was just there. And after the game, the guys go down to get it back. And the story here, one of them DM'd me and told me the story. So, Sammy, I figured out what happened and why it got so heated there. So from our view, you could see like this guy who looked like he was like the head of Fenway security or something, like putting his body in front of the sign so they couldn't get the sign back at the end of the game. And then one of the guys like angrily grabs the sign, and they both have their hands on it. And then the guy who made the sign rips it away, and the security guy is like holding a small chunk of the sign still.
Mm-hmm.
And what I figured out happened there was that the security guy wanted the guys who brought the sign to read the code of conduct for signs that says that the sign is too big. And they were basically like, no, fuck that. Like, we're taking it and we're going. And they took it and went. So shout out to those guys. Shout out to Signgate. You guys made Dom Smith the MVP of the series. Actually, I want to give the guy who made the sign a shout out on
Tyler. Tyler's his name.
Yeah.
Stonk
Tyler,
analyst.
Yes. Tyler Shamrock, parentheses, Stonk analyst. On Twitter, he is at Ojale Factory, which is fucking awesome because the Ojale Factory was a thing.
Yeah. Ripped. Yeah, dude, that was weird. We saw it happen. I don't know. Gordo, did you see I saw the guy rip it out of the security guard's hand. I understand, like, if you confiscate it, whatever. I think that's crap, but whatever, security. But why would you not give it back to the guy afterwards? It's not like he's going to come back and bring the same sign and get away with it or anything. Like, just give the guy and they probably worked a lot on it, too. It was it was a great sign. It looked good. There was nothing inappropriate on it. It was funny, and it was showing support for a guy. There's our guy, Tyler.
There it is. Look at the chunk taken out of the sign. Shout out to if you're watching on YouTube. Oh my, it's a small chunk.
And then on the top is the bigger chunk, right in the middle.
I was only looking at the top. What are you looking at?
Oh, there's one on the bottom left as well.
Oh yeah, look at that. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. So Dom Smith, amazing teeth in this picture, by the way. They gave him the greatest set of teeth of all time. But that's a hilarious sign. It shows support for a guy that, he's not one of the main guys on the team. Dom probably would have thought that was great if he saw it. And I don't know why security didn't give it back. I get if it was too big for their regulation, whatever, stupid, but that's the rules.
They wanted him to read the code of conduct before taking it back. That's insane.
That's so Karen.
Oh, I know. It's like, are you really going to be that much of a hard ass? Like, come on.
Everyone needs agency.
Let's chill.
Crazy to me, but whatever. I'm glad the guy got his sign back. I'm glad nobody got
the Sox won.
Yeah, most importantly, the Sox won with a lot of help from Dom Smith.
Yep. So we appreciate you guys tuning in to episode 96 of Play Tessie. Dom Smith is the series MVP, the Play Tessie series MVP. Before you go do something else, hit that subscribe button. Whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or the Odyssey app, subscribe and rate us 5 stars. We really appreciate when you do that. And check us out on YouTube. We've got the Play Tessie playlist within the WEI page. You can hit the thumbs up on those videos. And you can also follow us on the socials at Play Tessie on both Twitter and Instagram. We head into the All-Star break with the Sox 11 games over 500 and in sole possession of a wild card spot. But they've got bigger fish to fry. Alex Cora says they're going for the division. He says they're going for that ass. So let's go. Let's get that ass. Sox, 11 games over 500 in the first half. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.